Hello, hello. How are you, peeps? Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. My name is Estela with Leonesa Nica, and as you all know, I've been absent for a good amount of time, which probably over a year, if not more. But anyway, thank you so much for coming back. Today, I want to share with you an excellent book that I found, and it's about pattern drafting and grading. Excellent book, I have to say. It has been the investment of my life and the lowest cost investment ever. Actually, because to me is the book that I should have, found a long time ago when I was like learning to pattern draft or to get learning to understand patterns. So as you all know, for the longest time I used, and if you don't know, now you're gonna know that for the longest time I used store-bought patterns like McCall's, Simplicity, Berta. Well, no, Berta not so much, but Simplicity, McCall's, and there's one more, Butterick. Okay, those have been the ones that I used for such a long time, and for the time that I used them, they served me very well. Of course, there had to be a lot of time consuming or investment as far as readjustments and, well, you know the drill, okay? Sewing patterns are excellent when you're learning, but I have to say, if you get in the habit of doing your own or drafting your own patterns, you're probably gonna save time and money. Time because you don't have to be adjusting the pattern a lot, especially for ladies like me or people like me, let's say, that have that are not the norm. Like, I'm not tall, I'm 5'4". I have a belly, I have a butt, I have hips. My waist is a little higher, or I like my clothes a little higher than normal. What else? I don't have a lot of these. They're not, I mean, because I'm chunky, they're chunky, but not, thank God they're not, over proportioned. But for my size, on with patterns, like store-bought patterns, I had to do some adjustments. And that took a lot of time. And now that I do my own patterns, that I draft my own patterns, particularly with this book that I'm going to be talking about, I'm super happy with it. Okay, so let's get into it. The book I'm talking about is Pattern Drafting and Grading. And it says 45 Sewing Dress Patterns from 1960s by Michael Rohr, 1961. So if you have a book in your shelf that looks like this, maybe not the cover, but the inside may look like this, or you've seen this, because there are different covers for this actual book. I bought mine off of Etsy. I ended up getting curious about it because it had some sample pages on the Etsy store, and so I decided, well, let me get it. It's only, I think it was under $3. I honestly, I bought it on sale. I think it's $4.95. It's not a physical book. I bought the PDF. So when they sell it to you, they sell you a PDF. You have to download and then print it. Okay? And you get about this much, that many pages. I printed on front and back on my pages. So you need to set that up on your printer, but anyway, that's beyond the point. The book, I just started using it. I bought it probably like a year ago, but life happened and I never got to it until last, like a weekend ago, like last week. And I was awed and wowed by how good, how pretty, it's basic, but it's precise and it's easy. It didn't take me very long to actually draft a basic bodice. Honestly, you could not go wrong with this book. It, to me, is the best investment that I've ever done. And I do have quite other books. I am very particular and my brain is very inquisitive. If you are like me, you'll understand what I'm saying. I stopped looking for books until I get to the one that actually suits me. This has been it, okay? I've also tried pattern drafting and cutting systems, like, you know, you might not have heard of it, but I do have some videos that talk about my Haslam journey, which I'm almost ready to send another video with working with that system. Like, that system, however, is for people who already understand how to draft pattern. This book right here, if you are want to learn and you want to practice and you have a little bit of understanding, mind you say that if you've been using store-bought patterns, then you understand that when you know, you already know the basics, basically. You already know you have to have a front and a back. You have to have, I mean, if you're making a blouse, you got to have a front, you have to have a back, you have to do darts, maybe a princess cut, you have to have sleeves, maybe not. And then everything else is just designing a style, like ruffles or buttons or pockets, and you know, and adding more darts. You know, the dart is like another addition to shape the body. And if you know all these, then you will understand this book, okay? But this video is mainly for those that have never ever drafted a pattern. This book will help you with that process. The very first thing that comes up in the book is this page, okay? That's the very first thing that it shows you. I printed mine in black and white. I have no idea if there's any of it in color. I prefer my books when I print them in black and white. Color usually distracts me, so I print in black and white. Don't ask me why. That's how my brain likes it, and that's how I do it. Okay, but anyway. Then it also gives you a scale on a size 14 on a 1/4, 1/4 of the actual true size. So basically it gives you that so that you can actually work with it, and this way you would design or practice what you're doing on with that size, and then you probably won't have to spend too much money in materials. But if you have sheets, old sheets, tablecloths, or I don't know, you have a big amount of fabric you're not using, then, you know, you gotta practice, because the one thing with this is practice. Practice makes perfect. Once you do the first one, like I did, I mean, I've done a quite amount of pattern drafting, but I'm not like, I wasn't like really there after doing this book or doing the practice with this book. I have to say I am amazed. I love the fact that it's pretty basic but precise. So the next thing you see in this book is this, with these measurements and step-by-step instructions on how to take your measurements to work on your basic. And this is not the master pattern or your main block. Well, you can use it as your main block basically, because it doesn't have a lot of It doesn't have any ease except for the one for the bust. Now I'll show you once I try on the practice I made or the sample I made for me. But the book is so good. It's so easy to understand. The point, you know, it takes you from one point to another in such a ease. You just have to read. Read and follow the diagram that they give you here for you to have a sample of how to trace your lines, your design lines, where they're gonna go. Your darts, your sides, your neck, your center front, your center back, your side seams, your armhole. I mean, all of it is very simple, very precise. I cannot say, like, I'm not tired of saying how good this book really is. The other thing that they include in this book is half sizes, okay? They give you half sizes, and they give you, and I think they're pretty much, you know, they're pretty good. I have to say, it's pretty good. It gives you all that. It also gives you the instructions on how to draft your sleeves or your main sleeve, which is here. But the vocabulary used on this book is for the population that's working from home and cannot go to a school and they want to practice and learn it at home. That's the best way I can describe it. Okay, I cannot describe it any other way. Was this ever used to teach in a classroom? I think this would be the book I would use to teach in a classroom to others that want to learn. Because of the vocabulary, how basic it is, and how easy and precise this becomes. I'm not saying that your pattern is going to be as precise if you're a beginner, if you've never ever done or drafted a pattern, but you understand. It may take you a couple tries, if not 3, until you get it. For me, it was just once, but because I've drafted with other books and I kind of understand what's going on. But this has been the book for me, basically because it has less steps and it's precise and it's basic. It's pretty basic, so it's easier to retain it in your brain. You don't really have to go back to the actual book to try to remember how you're gonna draft a pattern for somebody with all these steps. So if you're not a designer, or you are a designer but you don't want to have to, or you just a home seamstress like me, or someone who likes to make their own clothing, this is the book for you. I don't know what else to say. Okay, I'll go over the book and show you more. The one part that I'm working on right now is for the main block. There is one that it seems to be the more precise block. Here it is. Yep, here it is. So it would be this. So there's, besides this, the measurements you take from the first part of the book, at the beginning of the book. In addition, you have to do some other measurements, but it gives you all the steps. Okay, these are like the steps you would have to take for your main bodice block, and this is a lot more precise according to the book. So that would be, this would be the block, the back, and this would be the front. And as you can see there, the lines on it, you can tell that is different to the block that's at the beginning, because at the beginning what they do is they give you a draft for a basic bodice, a basic dress bodice, which is that one. This one, you cut it that way. You cut front and back together, and then you have to then you can cut it on the side. You could cut it on the side, or you can actually cut it this way on your fabric. I ended up cutting mine and separating the front from the back. This is my front and this is my back. Okay. If you follow the instructions at the beginning, when I started doing the instructions, I was a little nervous, but I decided, no, I'm gonna follow the steps as it is. I'm not gonna change anything. The only thing I can say out of that bodice or the pattern is that they give you a 2-inch allowance for the bust part, which would be right at your arm side. So to me, that was too much. It ended up being 1 inch on each side too big. So I'm planning on redoing the pattern and adjusting the actual pattern so that I can use it. But other than that, it was really good. And I'll show you what I'm saying. Okay, there's a couple things that I didn't like, but it has nothing to do with not being precise. The actual measurements were precise. If you take them as directed on the book, you should be in good terms. I didn't press this, sorry. So you'll see right now, and I'm not putting it on my skin, so it may look a little funky right now, but after I did it, mindless to say, guys, that it may look a little big because the thing is, I have an my illness. One day I wake up thin, the other like thinner, like not thinner, but right now I'm like a little swollen. So I may be swollen today and tomorrow I might not. So my sizes change. So for me, the fitting on this is excellent because I retain fluids. So like I said, some days I'm fatter than other days. Let's put it that way. I'm bigger some days than I am other days. So, okay. So as you can see, there is very minimal ease on the seams, but it's because this is supposed to fit you like your second skin. So if I had help, this is what it would. Okay. I'm sorry, it doesn't look right because, okay, so if I stand like this without holding it in the back, you can tell already how this fits. Okay, the only thing I didn't like that the darts went a little higher. I have to fix them because I don't wear a wire bra, so my girls don't land where they're supposed to. Wires hurt me, so I don't wear them. So I'm actually planning on making my own bras. So that's another video. But see how this right here is, if I didn't add the 2 inches when I was drafting the pattern, then I need to take 1 inch away from there and from the other side. Other than that, I'm actually happy with that, the fitting on this. See if I did this, if I took that away, my fitting be really good. And if I'd be wearing another bra, let me tell you, you guys would be like, yeah, it fits good. So by this being bigger than on the back, makes that dark. And then I'm not holding it by anything, so that falls apart. But when I had my husband pin it in the back, I don't know if my husband or my son, I can't remember which one of them, but I had it pinned in the back and it fit me just fine. See, like this top, I made it with drafting my own pattern. You can see it's not baggy in the back. Usually if I buy a top, the bag will be baggy, like will be all boxy. I hate them like that. But anyway, so you saw that, okay? Basically, go on Etsy. I'm gonna leave the description of this book down below. That's all I have for you today. I will go ahead and try to bring another video soon. I'm not gonna say what the video is gonna be about. It probably be about drafting this, that one bodice, maybe something else. I don't want to promise anything. I tend to say something and then I don't do it. So let's leave it as a surprise. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. Give it a thumbs up. Like the video, basically. Share. And I will see you soon. Thank you again for coming back. Bye-bye.